we've got the opening to Star Wars, or something like that. In the beginning there was void. Then 4 spirits came together in this void. The crystals were born, and the world was created. Thus, hope gives the earth blessing. Courage lights the flame. Kindness makes the water, the source of life. And pursuit lets wisdom ride the wind. If you say so. When the day comes that void shall again envelop the world, if within people live the 4 spirits, light shall again be born. 4 spirits wandering through void shall once again give birth to light. And for some reason the text is disappearing before I can read it now. Or maybe that was the opening text repeating itself for some reason. But yeah, if any of the party members had fallen during the battle, they won't be able to rise again during this part here. They'll actually be stuck in the void, and anybody that survived the battle will be able to leave, as we'll be seeing. It's like, hooray, we're all okay, and we're flying through space! The void hasn't disappeared, even though we defeated Exdeath? Is it because the crystals are gone? Is the world going to be enveloped by the void? It's like, whoa! She's a rocket. Oh, the crystal shards! No, wait, come back! What about my power? What about my drop classes? Hope gives the earth blessings. It's like, fare thee well, crystal shards. And courage lights the flame. You know, and water gives the... or kindness gives the water blessing, or something like that. Makes water the source of life. And we got pursuit. What's it gonna do with the wind? Let's wisdom ride the wind. Okay, that's the pyramid. Okay, the earth crystal is reforming right here. Okay, so the locations where we got the stone tablets have now become the new resting places of the crystals. You know, you guys can forget about hooking them up to machines to harness the power of the elements. It's better to just leave these sources of life alone in their resting places. Not many people will be able to get to the one of fire. Oh, the ancient library is back. All the places that got sucked up into the void earlier in the game, they're all coming back now. The world is as it was before all this started, more or less. Well, the 2 worlds are still combined as one. There's Tycoon, but all the lives lost, save for the Warriors of Dawn. Gilgamesh and some of the other like named characters. Just about everybody's back except for them. I'm so glad there were few consequences to our adventure and all the evil that has befallen the world. We've saved the day. Yep, don't forget about Golif. Now the wind will return to Tycoon. Yes. It's like, what the? Oh, so we weren't hallucinating about you guys. Are you guys okay, or are you still dead? If everybody's dads are here except, Kelgar and Zeza are just kind of there. It's like, okay, at least they got acknowledged. It's still too early for you to come where we are. You have done well. Now, back to your world. And the dead guys are flying off in space. And they turned into a Hiryu for some reason. Or perhaps they just guided the Hiryu, because it did get sucked up with, Ball Castle. Yeah, and at this part of the ending, the Hiryu would pick up any characters that were still standing at the end of the battle. The scenes would have been a lot different. I don't think they would have had all that conversation with Bart's father and and Goluf and the Dawn Warriors and King Tycoon. Yep, and here's the Wind Crystal in the Solitary Island Temple. Temple, shrine, it's the same thing. All 4 crystals are back. The elements have been restored. Exdeath has been vanquished. The void is sealed away, as is the clefted dimension. And now we got Sid and Mid. A letter's arrived. You guys are still in the secret base? Please tell me it's not because we took the only means of getting out with the airship. Oh, Kara sent them a letter. And we have one of the more iconic themes of the game playing here, Dear Friends. One of the few pieces from this game that get orchestrated in the official Final Fantasy concerts. But it deserves it. It's a very nice theme. I'll let you guys listen to it. Oh, no, they're with the Moogles. And so Kara's been traveling around the new world. Yeah, the world has become a much more peaceful place as a result. But yeah, depending on who was defeated in the battles against Exdeath, different characters would write the letter. Like if Kara was gone, I think Bartz would be the next one to write a letter. And some of the things they said about the locations, like with Tycoon, if Ferris and Lena were gone, the Chancellor would be in charge of Tycoon. Oop, and Ferris doesn't want to be a princess after all, and is sneaking out of the castle. A pirate's life for me. There's no one to succeed the throne. Well, how about the Moogle? I think he's just said, I could be king, Kupo. And Kara's contemplating filling in for Goluf as the ruler. She's a little young, but I can see that working out. And Bartz went back home. He could spend some more time with his dead mom and dad. Yeah, that was a terrible thing to say, but some quality time with his family. And, oh, Coco's having babies. They're so cute. You should come meet them. Look at that. Little baby chocobos. And the pirates are all freaked out. Okay, a year has passed since then. So Kara seems to be like on her own because, the sisters are, being princesses at Tycoon, and Bartz is wandering again. The others come asking you guys about me. I'm sure they'll come. Please tell them that I want to see them again. You did swell. You all did swell. Swell done, everyone. And now it's time for black and white memories. Ah, the good old days. Getting shot by weak bolts by Exdeath and beating up elderly werewolves. Lupine attack. Go! Oh. Well played, Bartz. Well played. Oh yeah, this is a classic moment right here. It's like, how could a pirate captain be so pretty? Bart's. Now we're doing Lena. Oop. Ah, the good old moments. Lena's finest moments. Being shot by a poisoned arrow, walking through poisoned plants. Being laughed at by her older sister before they know 100% sure if they're sisters at all. Lena. Then we have Ferris. You know, all dolled up, ready for a night on the town. Bidding farewell to Sildra, her best friend since they were children. Being forcibly undressed by the men in the party. We got Ferris. And we got Kara picking up that mysterious bracelet that contained all of Galif's powers. And then exchanging blows with Bart's, basically punching him where it counts. And the first instance of the weak bolt. Here we go. Take that, King Tycoon. It's like I beat up an old guy. Kara! So how are you remembering all of that, Sid? You weren't there for any of it. But, well, those were some nice moments, at least for most of the characters. And for some reason we're zooming in on the ancient library. Oh wait, it's panning to the side now. We're going over to the Elder Tree. And it's an appropriate place to go. This is where we lost Galif after all. If Grandpa had not saved me... Yeah, Galif did sacrifice himself to save everyone. But she's still sad. It's understandable. You know, the world was saved, but you know, it was a heavy price paid in order to save it. She's been left all by herself. And that can't be true. And we're memories of Galif. This was a great scene. Galif was one of the best characters in this game. Yeah, that's what made his death so powerful. He was comic relief, but he had these epic moments like this. His one-on-one fight with Exdeath. This was, going Super Saiyan there. And then dying surrounded by his friends, his granddaughter. But yeah, Galif, he was one of my all-time favorite characters in this game. You aren't alone. We were hiding in the tree branch, eavesdropping. We're here, aren't we? Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. You've come. Of course. How could we forget about a friend we fought together with? She's wiping her tears. Tears don't suit you. Kara, you need to be strong. Galif's gonna laugh at you. You don't want to cry in front of your grandpa, or the soul of your grandpa. And we got flowers. Grandpa is laughing at me. Now we must protect the crystals. I'm assuming that they've been doing that for the past year as well, but... Yeah, just like Dad and the rest had protected them. Ooh, they're hearing something. It's life, it's the world itself. The elements have been restored. The world is a better place than it's ever been. Whatever it is, they can hear it, and that's what matters most. They hear something warm. I think it's called life. I'm assuming that's what they're getting at. Now let's go! There we go. Running into the brush. And we got chocobos. And Kara's on the Hiryu. And that is Final Fantasy V. Thank you all very much for watching me play through this game. This is one of the more funner games in the entire series. I love the job system. It was, it was so versatile. It was, there's so many different combinations you could play for this game. Some are better than others. And, the game can be really easy depending on how you set yourself up, or it can be hard, as you've no doubt seen, as I was kind of unintentionally demonstrated both ways. Some battles I had an easier time with than others, and some of them I should have had an easier time with, but neglected something or didn't do something the optimum way. But yeah, as far as gameplay goes, I give it, I guess if I want to give it a score, maybe like a 9 out of 10, something like that. The downside to it is that it's easy to, it's a little too easy to abuse the system sometimes. And there's the occasional little glitch, or at least I don't know if it's a glitch or not, like with the magic lamp and the enemies at like the sea trench, the boss there. It's like stuff like that. But I mean, if you had multiple characters doing the same job, you could make the stages a lot easier. If everybody was a samurai for the final battle of Exdeath, for instance, and everybody just did guild toss over and over, the battle would have been over about twice as fast as my battle, at least, depending on how that played out. I think Ferris's chocobo is wearing an eye patch. That's a nice touch there. But yeah, as far as music goes, I definitely give it a 10 out of 10. I love this soundtrack. It's one of my all-time favorites in the series. It was one of the best aspects of the game, in my opinion. It has my favorite battle theme, Clash on the Big Bridge. And all the battle themes are good or great, kind of in that range. The Final Fantasy V main theme is one of my favorite main themes in the series. It had some really good dungeon themes. Exdeath's theme was good. And you had the Cleft of Dimension. That theme was pretty good. There were some better Final Dungeon themes, but that one, it works. It was good, definitely. I guess the only downside is that there weren't enough like individual character themes. We had Lena's theme, but that kind of applied to, I think all the girls had that theme play on their behalf at some time or another. Bartz didn't really have his own specific theme unless the main theme counted as that. And Galuf, he deserved his own theme, but I guess the music I played when he was rescuing the party at the start of the second world, I guess that was I guess that could count as his theme. Yeah, the graphics wise, it's it was an upgrade from Final Fantasy IV, not quite as big an upgrade as Final Fantasy VI, so it makes sense that it's in the middle there, and it was good. You know, they did some more. Things are a bit more animated than they were in Final Fantasy IV, so they were a bit bolder on that. You know, the sound quality was improved too over Final Fantasy IV. That's something I didn't mention earlier. But yeah, it was. Yep. And we're thanked as well. And we get to see the naked demon, Marugine, one last time. You get to see all the jobs and our final stats and everything for our characters. All the abilities that they learned. Not bad at all. Got 28 job abilities learned with Kara. That's pretty good. Yeah, if you want to ever want to make perlers of Final Fantasy V sprites, you know, this is the best way to get a blown up image of them while playing the game. You know, just pick the jobs you want. And let's see, wasn't sure if I had to press a button there or not. Ferris against Gilgamesh. But anyway, yeah, whichever job you're using at the final battle is what you'll be showcased as here. Ferris is a level 38 ninja. How many abilities did she learn? It's a decent list there. We got 27 with Ferris. Okay, yeah, she did spend a lot of time with ninja. That one takes a little while to learn. So that makes sense. What was I saying before? Nah, I don't remember. But yeah, in a moment they're gonna jump over to Lena. Yeah, here we go. Lena fighting against Byblos. Using a dimensional quarter spell or something. Probably doesn't actually work. But again, if you wanted to make perlers of the characters, you know, you can have blown up images of the characters like this to, you know, if you don't want to Google it or something, depending on what character job class you are, that's the image you'll get. Lena mastered 30 abilities. That's probably the highest out of everybody. She was kind of jumping around a bit. So that's pretty good. Again, I might do a bonus episode in the future where I'll fight against Exdeath and Neo Exdeath with all the characters as normal, so you get to see all their stat boosts and everything. Bartz did slash on Exdeath. There's a samurai. A level 38 samurai. So let's see what kind of abilities he's got mastered. Only 24? Well. Yeah, you did spend a lot of time with Knight and Hunter and Samurai, so I guess it makes sense you'd get fewer jobs mastered. But yeah, I love that the background for Exdeath's castle back in World 2. That is just freaky in a cool evil bad guy kind of way. That's the way an evil lord trying to destroy the world should have a headquarters like. And everybody fades away. And the end. A really dizzying display of a the end title. But yeah, this has been Final Fantasy V. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this. Thank you very much for watching this. By the way, I'd also like to throw out a few thank yous towards well, H.C. Bailey for one, for his walkthrough that served as a pretty detailed guide for that basically helped me decide on my course of action throughout the game. I didn't follow everything he did because I didn't want it to be just a exact copy, but I probably would not have been able to beat Omega or Shinryu if I hadn't followed his advice and his videos. And there's some other strategies. I learned the magic lamp glitch and everything from watching his videos as well, stuff like that. I never would have used the chemist job class if I hadn't seen just how useful combine could be. I probably would have just passed up on that entirely and might have had a harder time with some of the other fights. He does good work. His LPs, they're really detailed. You'll learn things about games you never even knew were possible. And now the prelude is playing. So yeah, I especially wanted to thank H.C. Bailey above all else. I suppose before that, all else except for the people who actually made the game, like Hironobu Sakaguchi, Nobuo Uematsu, and all the development staff, for directing and creating the sound, the music. I definitely want to thank them before anything else. Those guys take top priority. I'd like to thank the translator for this version of the game that I played. It wasn't a perfect translation, but it was a lot better than anything I could have done. And I assume he was probably in a rush to be the first one out there with it, or something like that. So, for no doubt not being paid for it, this was a very top-notch effort on that person's part. So thank you very much for translating this version of the game. It was a pretty good translation. It was pretty accurate from what I've seen of the other translations. It's a lot better than the Final Fantasy Anthology version on the PlayStation 1. A lot better than that. I think I still prefer the advanced version though, especially in terms of like some of the character dialogue, like Gilgamesh's. Gilgamesh was just so much more endearing in the advanced version. But he had some good moments still. And, so thank you for translating the game. Let's see who else is there. I guess I'll throw out a shout out to Bratty Games, even though their guide wasn't that reliable. It wasn't very complete compared to H.C. Bailey, or probably GameFAQs probably would have been better too. I didn't go to GameFAQs though. But it did have some maps that I used for reference, and it helped a little bit. So thank you, Bratty Games, for having a guide. Much appreciated. Let's see, is there anyone else specifically? Well, I'd like to thank everybody that's watched my videos and offered critiques, offered suggestions, asked questions, either in Instant Messenger or on forums, if not on the actual YouTube page here. It was, it's always, I get things pointed out to me that I overlooked in the videos, like, you could have, why didn't you use Reflect when you were on the, in the Fork Tower on the magic side? And, I'm thinking, why didn't I do Reflect? I could have had wall rings assuming I had wall rings at the time. I don't remember if I got the wall rings yet or not. But I could have cast Carbuncle and, like, bounced Flare off, and Lena would have survived the battle that way. Stuff like that. But yeah, this has been a great... I've really enjoyed this LP. I'm not entirely sure what my next LP is going to be. I've taken a little break first. November's National Novel Writing Month, so I think I'm going to spend November at least working on that, hopefully. Feel free to ask me how that's coming along by the time, that should be underway by the time this video goes up. Probably about mid-November when this video is up. It's October 22nd now. I just uploaded episode 47, I believe, this morning. So, I'm getting these out there a little bit in advance. But yeah, I'm not sure what my next project will be. I might do like a smaller, basic like platformer game or something like that. Or maybe Zelda 1 or something in the meantime. But the next major one, most likely it'll probably be another Super Nintendo era RPG. There's only so many, but we'll see. You can speculate. I haven't made any commitments yet. Depends on how reliable I think my Dazzle connection is. If I need a faster computer to do the type of games that I really want to do. games. There are some games I would really like to tackle, even though they take a long time to do. But I worry about, losing frame rates like I did in just Super Mario Bros. 3 of all games. If my computer can't, gather up every single frame that from a game like that, I can't expect to do something from a PlayStation 2 game or even like a PlayStation 1 game. I would worry. But yeah, if I'm not very reliable, if I don't find that very reliable, I might do another emulator. I've got, Final Fantasy 4 or Final Fantasy 6. Those are pretty obvious possibilities. Yeah, there's a couple other things I'm thinking about. But I'll leave that for when that actually happens. Well, I guess that's pretty much it. This is it for Final Fantasy V, aside from maybe that bonus episode I mentioned before, if I do the normal job class forms against Exdeath and Neo Exdeath. And there's like one or two other little things I can show. I didn't get a 100% treasure rating in this game because when I redid the Karnak Castle escape, I skipped a bunch of them on the way out because I wasn't thinking about 100% treasure ratings at the time. But I got close. I got everything else, I believe. Okay, well, I think that's enough out of me. This video is going to go on way too long, and as much as I like the prelude, it's got to end sooner or later. So, alrighty guys, this has been Let's Play Final Fantasy V. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. It's been a pleasure. It's a really fun game. If you haven't played it before and would like to, I recommend it. You can either get this emulator or try to find the Game Boy Advance version. I recommend that one. In a couple of years, it'll be the 20th anniversary for Final Fantasy V. There's a very real possibility Square Enix will release some kind of updated version of it at that time. Maybe you want to hold out for that. But get it on the 3DS or the Vita or something. I don't know where it's going to go. They haven't announced anything yet, but it's very likely, considering the track record that they've done for the first 4 games. So, alright guys, this has been Phoenix Down. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next project.